In this question, we're asked to compare the volume and temperature changes that a gas experiences. If you look at the first volume listed, it's given to us in milliliters, and that's a fine unit to work in. But the temperature is given to us in Celsius, and that's just not okay. We need to use Kelvin. In the problem, they give the second temperature in Kelvin, so there is some trickery going on here. Number one, the temperature units do need to match, obviously, but then furthermore, because the conversion from Celsius to Kelvin requires addition rather than multiplication or division, that means it's not a geometric relationship and therefore won't work out mathematically. That is, you can't substitute a temperature in Kelvin in a proportion and hope that it works out. So let's do some Charles's law and keep track of our units. The first volume was given as 2.00 times 10 to the second milliliters. I'll call that V1. And instead of writing that in scientific notation, I'm just going to write it out as 200. T1, or the initial temperature, was given to us as 11 degrees Celsius. Let's add 273 to that number and arrive at 284 Kelvin. And I'll just jot that down. The final volume is what they're asking us to find, so put a question mark for that one. And the final temperature, they did give that to us in Kelvin, 1.00 times 10 to the second. Let's jot that down as 100. Charles's law, V1 over T1 equals V2 over T2. Keep in mind that in order for Charles's law to work, constant pressure must be assumed. And we can usually assume that unless they tell us otherwise in the problem. So we'll set up this proportion. And to solve it, you could do some cross multiplying. So 100 times 200, and then set that equal to 284x. And we'll divide both sides by 284. And x works out to be 70.4, and the unit that comes out will be the same as the unit that we had for the first volume, milliliters. If we had converted that first volume into liters, then x would come out in units of liters. So the volume units will stay constant in the proportion.